Okay, so this first video is sort of a test. Let's hope it works. Before I get started, I want you to see my official math checker. He's hard at work back there, making sure that I don't make any mistakes. Because as we all know, I am not perfect, and you guys have all heard me mess up, but my cat's back there checking on me. No, but really, I do have my answer key over here, so I'm going to be checking myself to make sure that I tell you the right thing, because I'd hate to tell you the wrong thing without you guys to be there and say, hey, Jess, I thought that was supposed to be a 6, like you do for me. So we ended halfway through composite functions. I want to finish composite functions, and I want to take this video, again, it's going to be short because I just want you to get an idea of what I was thinking of, and I'm going to put this one up right away and get feedback on it before I make any more. So I have your workbook. I'm going to be basically doing the lecture the same way that I would if you were here. You're going to be able to see me and my paper. I know that a lot of the time you're going to be looking at the top of my head over here because I'm going to be looking down, but I still want to be able to address some things, so I thought that just seeing the paper wouldn't really be enough. But again, I'm going to totally take feedback on this, and if you hate it and if there's something that you think I could do better, then please let me know. So we're right here on page 98 with this table for A and V, and we want to know how to find A of 7. So remember, in this table, we'd say that A of 7 is 2 because when we go to 7, we get 2 in the A column. Okay. A minus V of 11 is the same as A of 11 minus V of 11. So that would be negative 8 minus 2, which is negative 10. Remember that the open dot is composition. So V open dot A of negative 5 is the same as V of A of negative 5. And so I'm going to do the A of negative 5 first because we always work from the inside out. So A of negative 5 is 7. And so then since A of negative 5 is 7, this is going to be V of 7, which is negative 3. And then last but not least for this part, V over A of 16 is the same as V of 16 over A of 16, which is 0 over 8, which is just 0. Number 2 gets a little further than we need in a normal semester and way further than we need in a shortened semester, so we're not going to worry about that one right now. Here, if we're looking at these graphs, or this graph, excuse me, this is a supply and demand graph. So it says as the supply increases, the demand decreases. So that means this is supply and this is demand. So S of 2 would be $2. And D of 2 would be $6. And so then S plus D of 2 would be this plus this, which is $8. S times D of 2 would be this times this, which would be $12. And then D of S of 2, D of S of 5, excuse me. Well, first we need to know S of 5. So S of 5 is 5. So then that means the D of S of 5 is the same as D of 5, since S of 5 is 5. So D of 5 is 3. So that means D of S of 5 is 3. And then S of D of 5, well, first we need to know D of 5. D of 5 is 3. And then we need to know S of D of 5. Well, we just said D of 5 was 3, so then that's S of 3. So S of 3 is 3. So S of D of 5 is 3. Now, I normally, if we were together right now, I would ask you to try these by yourself. and then I would give you a couple minutes, and then I would put up the answers, and then I would take questions, and that would be that. So at this point, I would like for you to pause the recording and try this page, and then come back when you're done and watch me do them. So pause. Okay, welcome back. I'm hoping that you actually did pause and that you didn't like just let it run. I'm going to do these on a separate sheet of paper because I feel like there's not enough room for a lot of these. So for letter A, v of t is 4t squared minus 3t plus 1. A of t is negative 3t squared minus 5. So v plus a of t would be 4t squared minus 3t plus 1 plus negative 3t squared minus 5t. Minus 5, excuse me, not 5t. Which is 4t squared minus 3t squared is t squared. Nothing to combine with the 3t, and then 1 minus 5 is negative 4. Okay. B, a minus v of t would be negative 3t squared minus 5, and then minus 4t squared minus 3t plus 1. So a 3t squared minus 4t squared is going to be negative 7t squared. Then we have this minus a negative 3t squared, so that's plus, or 3t, excuse me, so that's plus 3t. And then we have negative 5 minus 1, so negative 6. Okay. How about letter C? V times a of t, so I'm going to multiply them. So I know I mentioned earlier in the semester that when I multiply these, I prefer to use vertical multiplication. So it's like a fine line on where I put this camera so that you don't see the document camera, but so that you can actually see me. So sorry if I'm fidgeting. This is my first one. 4t squared minus 3t plus 1, and then times a negative 3t squared minus 5. So that's negative 5. It's a 15t, and that's minus 20t squared. So then I actually need 2 zeros here because we didn't have a term with just a t, so this is the third place over. Or you can just line them up. But negative 3t squared plus 1 is going to be a negative 3t squared, or times 1, excuse me. Negative 3t squared times negative 3t is going to be a 9t to the third. And then negative 3t squared times 4t squared is a negative 12t to the fourth. So when I do all of my addition here, I should have 12t to the fourth plus 9t cubed minus 23t squared plus 15t minus 5. Negative 12t squared plus 9t. Yep, looks like I'm good. Okay. D. A plus v of negative 1. So then that's the same as a of negative 1 plus v of negative 1. So a of negative 1 is going to be negative 3 times negative 1 squared minus 5 plus 4 times negative 1 squared minus 3 times negative 1 plus 1. Okay. 1, negative 3, negative 5. 1, so that's 4. That's a plus 3 and a plus 1. Well, negative 8, positive 8, 0. That pause for a second was because I was contemplating the fact that I really should have brought in my calculator. I'm going to have to go grab it after I'm done with this video. Okay. E. A of v, or a minus v of 3, so a of 3 minus v of 3. So that's going to be negative 3 times 3 squared minus 5, and then minus 4 times 3 squared Sorry, I like scrolled past 3 times 3 or moved it too far up. So then we have 9 times the negative 3, so negative 27 minus 5 minus, that's going to be 9 times 4, so 36 minus 9 plus 1. So negative 32 minus, that's 27, so 28. Negative 32 minus 28 is going to be negative 60. A over V of t is just going to be A of t over V of t, so negative 3t squared minus 5 over 4t squared minus 3t plus 1. That's all you have to do for that one. Okay. Letter G. V of negative 2 over A of negative 2. So that's going to be 4 times a negative 2 squared minus 3 times negative 2 plus 1 over negative 3 times negative 2 squared minus 5. 4, so that's 16 plus 6 plus 1. 4, so that's negative 12 minus 5. 22, 23, negative 17, so the whole thing is negative. Negative 23 over 17. You know, I've been through this book 100 times, and I never noticed there was not a letter H before. Interesting. Okay, I, since there's no H. Letter I. A of V of t, like this, is going to be, we put V of t into A. So we go to A, and everywhere we see a t, we replace it with V. So that would be negative 3 times 4t squared minus 3t plus 1 squared minus 5. Now, the first time I did this, and actually every time I've done it, I've always done all of the workout, but I'm not going to, not because I don't want to, but because your answers in more need to be left like this. So don't do any more than this, because this is what more wants. However, if you did, when you were doing this on your own, go through and work that one out, that would have been your final answer. So you can pause that and double check your steps if you would like. That's the nice thing about this, huh? That you can go through and just stop it whenever you want to. And then last but not least for this section, V of 4, which we actually just saw the answer to because I cheated. V of 4. Well, first we need to know what is V of 4. And this one gets nutty big, so I'm definitely going to need that paperback since I don't have my calculator with me. So that's 4 times 4 squared minus 3 times 4 plus 1, which is going to be 16 times 4, so that's 64 minus 12 plus 1, which is 64 minus 12 is 52 plus 1, so 53. And then we would need to do V of 53. Since V of 4 is 53, we replace this V of 4 with 53. And that becomes 4 times 53 squared minus 3 times 53 plus 1. And I promise you that whenever I do this, I just put that in the calculator exactly like you see it. And when I do, I get 11078. Okay? Okay, so then for number 5, we have surface area. S of r equals 4 pi r squared, and then the balloon is increasing at a rate r of t is 1/2 t squared. We want to find the surface area as a function of time. So what it's asking me to do is do S of R of t, which would be 4 pi, and then instead of this r, I'm going to put this whole function. So 4 pi 1/2 t squared squared. Now again, that's going to be where Moore wants you to stop. I don't like it like that though. So 4 pi times 1/4 t to the 4th. 1/2 squared is 1/4. T squared squared is t to the 4th. And then 4 times 1/4 cancels. So we're left with pi times t to the 4th. And then this next one is super similar, only instead of surface area, it's volume. So the volume is 4/3 pi r cubed. The radius is changing at the same rate. So this would be v of r of t, which would be 4/3 pi, and then instead of r, 1/2 t squared cubed. So that's going to be 4/3 pi. 1/2 cubed is 1/8. T squared cubed is t to the 6th, which will then be 4/24 pi t to the 6th, right? 4 times 1, 3 times 8, which reduces, so 1/6 pi t to the 6th. So that is the end of the composition section. After this, we're going to work on inverses. I'm going to put this video up probably like right now because I want a couple of you guys to watch it and tell me what you think. I hope that this, in this weird time, will work for us as a modified way of our learning. If there's anything that I could have done better, please let me know, because I want to make sure that you are actually going to be able to learn from this, because unfortunately this is our reality for the rest of the semester. So any feedback that you have, I would greatly appreciate, because I just want to make sure that I'm doing everything for you that I can, even though we can't be in the same room with one another. So, hey Bobo, did I make any mistakes? No, he pretty much hasn't moved this whole time. He looks real comfortable though, doesn't he? Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys. I'm, like I said, going to put this one up and get some feedback, and then hopefully tomorrow I'll start doing the rest of the lectures for the semester. So I look forward to hearing back from you and getting your feedback on how this one went. Thanks.